welcome to Chatty Sparkly Running, where we're going through all the different ways to vary your pace. Yeah, so you're handing over to me on the faster running.
Yeah.
And it's a way to structure faster running into your week.
Yeah, because we started to talk about different paces last
Yeah,
week.
so we've looked at the chatty and the breathy and the sparkly and how to put those paces in. Okay. If you want to put faster running into your week, and we need to say why you might want to do that later, let's look at how you might do it to structure faster running into your... So structured running is normally called repetition running.
This structured faster running.
Structured, yeah, repetition running. So you might have heard about reps. Some people call them intervals, but I'll just go through a little bit about the 4 things that you need. So you're structuring your training to put faster bits in. So you're going to do a faster bit, and then you're going to have a rest. I'll put another faster bit in.
You're going to warm up really well
Yeah,
before you do that.
well, yeah, you'd have to do the full warm up because you always warm up to the speed that you're running at. So you would have to do strides, and you'd walk a little bit, chatty for a little bit, breathy for a little bit. Strides up to the speed that you're going to run at. So it's where you put your full race warm up in. Okay, so then you're going to structure your run so that you're going to do a fast bit and then a recovery bit. So we call them some people call them repetitions, other people call them intervals, but actually if you think about it, the repetition is the name of the fast bit and the interval is the recovery interval. So you need 4 things. You need the distance or the time that you're running the repetition.
Yeah, the length of the repetition.
How many of them you're doing. The pace that you're doing them at.
Yeah.
And the recovery. So whenever you have a repetition session, a structured session, the coach should put 4 things in.
And do you know what the one is that they most often miss? If say beginner coaches most often
I don't know.
miss the pace.
The pace, yeah. Okay, so you were saying about how you could put structure breathy running in,
because I think...
which is something I don't do, but...
We get people to run chatty and we promote the benefits of chatty running. Then what if our chatty runners are suddenly tempted to go and do an interval session for one reason or the other?
Okay.
It might be a club, it might be something that their friends are doing. Okay.
So they run a gentler pace.
So I would recommend, first time you ever do it, just go breathy intervals.
Yeah,
just to ease yourself into
So
it.
what might be the 4 things that you might do that then?
The 4 elements.
So we've got the pace.
So you've got the pace.
Is breathy.
It's only breathy, so you're only doing it 1 notch up from chatty.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, that's going to be much less of a stress on your body, much less of a shock to your body. You see how your body responds to that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you can gradually, because the next time you do it, go a bit
Okay, so how many would you do?
How many would I do?
Yeah.
Well, it's the normal rule.
What's that?
You don't do it until you stop before you get tired.
Okay, so you stop, or your form goes.
Or your form goes. So you might do three lots of 2 minutes.
3 lots of 2 minutes breathy.
Might be enough for you.
And the one thing, the recovery interval.
And the recovery would be 3 minutes.
Okay.
I'd have a proper recovery.
Okay.
Because you're only playing with it at that stage. It's not a proper interval session.
No, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just learning how to do it.
It's just learning how to do it.
Introducing a
and
breathy
it's getting your body
pacing.
used to it.
Yeah.
So you would never go from chatty, I've only ever run chatty and sparkly, then off you go run an interval session flat out.
Hang on. So let's talk about the more experienced person wanting to go faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have a balance between how fast you're going and how long the recovery interval is. So if you were doing, say you were doing 5k pace, so a typical one, first person that would do the session, I would say 3 lots of 2 minutes at 5k pace with a 3-minute recovery. There's my 4 things.
How would you recommend people find their 5k pace?
Well, slightly faster than 5k pace. You want to be a really good pace where your body's using the biggest amount of oxygen it can. Is your 10-minute competition pace.
That before you did any intervals and interval sessions like that, you should be really aware of your paces?
Yeah, you'd need to have done park run, and you should know what your 5k pace is, and you
should be able to tune into that, because otherwise you're going to go too fast, aren't you?
Yeah, and you would normally do slightly faster than 5k pace.
And how does the
recovery would normally be 1-to-1, but because I've said it's your first one, I said 3 by 2 minutes at your 5k pace with a 3-minute recovery. So I played on the safe side, and I gave them a little bit longer recovery.
Feel at park run pace, because we're feeling based runners after all.
Yeah, well, the first 3 minutes of your 2 minutes of your park run is a walk. Literally feels like you're jogging on the spot. So that most people will go too fast, especially if they're on the running track. So let's give a few more. So you would vary the interval depending on the speed, but then you've done 3 by 2 minutes, so you could work your way up to 5 lots of 3 minutes at 5k
not in the
pace.
Same session. No, over the week.
Over the weeks, 5 lots of 3 minutes, however far you get in 3 minutes, with a 3-minute recovery at slightly faster than 5k pace is an ideal session. And then if you want to go faster, and you want to even step it up to mile pace, because it's faster, you need a longer recovery time, because you need to be able to do each one the same.
Yeah, it's about consistency, isn't it?
So
if you're doing an interval session and you're doing 4 intervals, and the final one is so much slower and you're collapsing at the end,
then you've gone too many.
Then you've done too many, or you've gone too fast.
Yeah, you've always got to stop.
You've got
before
to finish still feeling like you could.
It's the same.
Could do a bit more.
Yeah, you always should. Or your form.
Weary, but you could do a bit more.
Your form, if your form goes, or if you can't, you've got to finish one before you can't do any more.
Yeah. So the same Chattox-Barclay rules apply.
So here's another faster one, just to give you an introduction. 8 times 1 minute.
Ooh.
At your 1 mile pace.
Right. So shorter.
With a 4-minute recovery.
4 minutes.
Yeah, that's an easy lap jog if you're on the track, and that's it.
That's really getting the speed up, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, and you can play around with hundreds of them. You never need to do the same one twice. But I like to do. The other thing is I like to do it in time, because I work with mixed ability groups on the track. So if you have a mixed ability group, it's really beneficial to use time, because
so that everybody's got the same
everybody finishes at the same. Everybody finishes at the same time. That means everybody gets the same volume of faster running and the same amount of recovery. And of course, they can then have a look if they do it on the track or anywhere, look how far they've gone, and try to be consistent by keeping the same time.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and that's really good fun for people.
And that helps with the consistency element, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right,
but hang on, there's a final thing that we haven't mentioned, and that is, when would you do repetitions? Yes. And the answer is, it's working your anaerobic system. It's getting you breathing hard, so it has a level of acidity in it. So I would say you only use it for a short amount of time.
Ideally, you would, wouldn't you?
You'd have 4 or 5 weeks of it, perhaps 1 or 2 sessions a week, and then
on how many times you're running.
Then you've maxed out that system. You won't improve anymore, but you'll improve rapidly in that 4 or 5 weeks, and then it's time to freshen up, do a few shorter little things that we come to next week, and then you will blast your 5k PB
or your 10k or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Good.
And it's all about recovery, isn't it?
It's all about the importance of recovery.
If you're doing a bit more, I mean, some people might be doing more.
Oh, that's the other thing. You'd have to have 2 days recovery after each repetition session.
Did I mention that?
So you need recovery from between each one, and then in between each session you need recovery.
And it will be 2 or 3 days, won't it, depending upon?
At least 2 days.
How experienced you are.
Yeah. Good. Hello. There's a happy dog.
Well, I think that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, more than enough for people to think about. Yeah. I think that's the one that I think a lot of people...
Yeah, we have talked about intervals in more detail on other videos. If you go to YouTube, I'll put some links to that.
But it's a good one. That's the one we always get the most questions on.
But if you're a beginner, stay well away from it.
Yeah, well, thank you for watching.
Okay.
I'm sure if you have any questions, mate, you just put them in the comments underneath, whether it's YouTube or Facebook group or Facebook page. I'll try and get back to people pretty quickly.
And before next next week, I'm going to count how many you've got now. I think you've lost count of how many different ways we got to vary your running.
Do I count the 2 different paces of? Because then I've got an infinite variety.
You said 20. I don't know whether you've got to 20.
Well, I'm not quite there. Anyway, nicely done. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll have another beautiful spring day next week.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you're new to Chatty Sparkly Runners, we have a Facebook group where you can get advice and guidance on anything about your running that you want, or to celebrate your achievements. Yeah, lots of races coming up.
Yeah, we've had someone suddenly get 50 seconds quicker on their park run just because they've slowed down their training in the week. Yeah.
So it could do the same for you.
Yeah, a minute quicker. It's quite a significant amount, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, thank you. See you next week.
Bye.